A blind man was sitting on the side of a busy street. He held up a cardboard sign that read, "I'm blind. Please help." But people kept passing by without even glancing at him. Many walked right by without giving a single thought to the blind man's plea for help. Some did glance his way, but quickly averted their gaze, pretending he wasn't there. A little girl, however, couldn't help but feel a pang of sympathy for the poor guy. She stopped in her tracks and slowly made her way over to the blind man. Kneeling down in front of him, she gently took his sign and told him to close his eyes. Startled by the sudden touch, the blind man instinctively did as he was told. As the girl scribbled something on the sign, the blind man could hear the sound of her pencil scratching against the hard surface. When she was done, she flipped the sign over so that he would be able to see the new message she had written. But the blind man could sense the change. Something about the way the sign was now facing him felt different. He slowly reached out a trembling hand and gently touched the surface of the cardboard. A small smile appeared on his face as he realized what the girl had done. Although he couldn't see it, he could feel the sincerity in her touch. Just then, people began to gather around the blind man. At first, they had been too preoccupied with their own lives to pay any attention to him. But now they were stopping to take a closer look at the sign and the mysterious little girl who had approached the blind man. One man in particular couldn't help but feel a surge of emotion. Overwhelmed with feeling, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a handful of coins, dropping them into the open palm of the blind man's outstretched hand. Others followed suit, dropping coins and even some notes into the man's palm. The blind man's eyes widened in surprise as he felt the weight of the coins in his hand. It was more than he had ever been given before. He looked up at the girl with gratitude shining in his eyes. The little girl only smiled back at him, and then, as if suddenly realizing something, she quickly got up and ran off. The blind man watched her go, a faint smile still gracing his lips. People continued to approach, dropping their spare change into the blind man's palm. Some even stopped to chat with him, their faces filled with warmth and kindness. Heart swelled with emotion as he realized the impact of the little girl as simple act of kindness. Her words had touched their hearts and made them care. As the day wore on, the pile of coins in the blind man's hand grew larger and larger. It was more than enough to provide him with food and shelter for many days. But it wasn't just the money that had touched him deeply. It was the genuine kindness and compassion shown by the people who had stopped to help. As the sun began to set, the blind man sat back, leaning against the wall with a contented sigh. He looked down at the sign that had started it all. The words, "The world is beautiful, but I can't see it." Suddenly, the world didn't seem so dark and gloomy to him anymore. The little girl had managed to convey the beauty of the world to him through her words, even though he couldn't see it with his eyes. The blind man closed his eyes, imagining what the world might look like. He pictured lush green trees swaying in the gentle breeze, the bright blue sky dotted with fluffy white clouds, and the warm smiles of the people around him. He smiled faintly, touched by the kindness that had been shown to him that day. The little girl's words had changed everything. They had opened his heart and shown him the true meaning of compassion. And as the soft piano music swelled around him, the blind man felt a sense of peace and gratitude wash over him. He knew that he would never forget this day or the words that had changed everything.